The police is the serious one. Lewis Jackass is like, he's acting like a jackass. And slides into the ring. Boom, 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 boom. There's Jackass saying, look at me, I'm the man, I'm the man. Here we go. Referee showing the both tag teams the championships. Here we go. They're up in the air. The JWF World Tag Team Championships are on the line. Here we go. The bell has sounded, and here we go. What a chop by Jackass. Jackass now stopping on JTG. Jackass and JTG going at it. Look out. Here's JTG in it. Look out. Shad coming from behind. Oh, and drops and kicks the police. No, the police. Okay, there comes back Jackass and the police now. Look at Jackass, he's beating the crap out of Shad. Oh, Shad gets an elbow. Right now, looks like the police have the Sargents have the advantage at the moment against Cryme Tyme. Oh, this. Looks like they're dominating them here. Who knows? There might be an easy victory for tonight. For both the police and Jackass, it would be good for both men to try and beat these two as fast as they can in order to save their energy for later tonight, because the police has got an Intercontinental title defense tonight against Mcmahon, and Jackass is participating in that 6-man first ever Money in the Bank ladder match, and they both want to have the energy to participate in each other's matches. I know Jackass has wanted to be Mr. Money in the Bank for quite a while. He's wanted to have that coveted JWF Championship match. He's wanted to have that championship around his waist. I know. I talked to him earlier tonight, and he said he wants that belt. He wants to retain the titles he already has. Then he wants to go on to headline the night as being the man called Mr. Money in the Bank. And you can use that the time that expires next year at Everything or Nothing 2. If you do not use it by Everything or Nothing 2, as in a full season, if you don't use it within a full season, that means you lose your title shot, and that Money in the Bank becomes null and void. And shoots him into the turnbuckle, and look at this Jackass. Oh! Yeah, Anderson type spine buster. And Jackass now is going to hit. CCB drop! CCB drop on Chad! Oh, JTG gets a CCB drop. And he moves out of the way. Look at this. The police. He goes in for the... No, I thought he was going for the pin there. No. I guess he assumed it was too late to go for the pin on that one. Oh, knee. Oh, knee. And the police, I think. Yep, the police has got a finishing move. Will you arrest Shad? Or will you restrict Shad? Or will you do neither? Oh no, here we go! And wait a minute, what's going on here? And I can't see a thing! My monitor again went out! Wait a minute, he picks up! He's got him! He's got Shad in the air! 1, 2, 3! That's one way to prevent his tag team partner from saving. It's now Shad against the police and Jackass! And Jackass taking him down! Fist of Fury by the police! Here we go! You don't want to get a cop mad! And... oh, look at that! The police going up! The police! What is he? He says, yeah, yeah, yeah! Bam! Got him right in the skull! Wait a minute! Oh, straight! Jacob picked him up for a straight! That was straight! Yes! Jackass, yes! The submission! Shad gave up! Oh my gosh, that was a relatively short match! Jackass and the police have retained their JWF World World Tag Team Championship. Look at that Shad, not too impressed with himself giving up. But that was a chokehold of death. Yes. And the police is going, yeah, I'm the man. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is MVP versus the Great Khali. MVP's one last shot at getting the United States Championship that he lost at one last stop, the Great Khali. It seemed like the United States Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship have the same story. Because MVP won the title at the #1 contender, then he lost it at one last stop. Just like Jacob won the World Heavyweight title and then lost it at one last stop. MVP has said he is the man to be the U.S. champion. And he said he will go to any extreme. He will beat the crap out of Khali. He will take this last man standing match. He said he won the last man standing match because he could do anything and everything to the Great Khali. Beat him to a pulp. He wants to beat the bloody pulp right out of the Great Khali. And MVP says he's willing to do anything, even if it means he injures himself in the process. That's how much MVP wants not only the U.S. title, but he wants the U.S. title off the Great Khali. He wants nothing to do with the Great Khali anymore. He thought that if he had won that one last stop that he had at the #1 contender, he was finished with him in the first place. But the Great Khali said, no, I'm using my rematch clause. And the Great Khali said, the Great Khali is so confident tonight that when he won his title, he was offered a rematch clause, and the Great Khali denied it. He denied the rematch clause. So the Great Khali does not have a rematch clause. But it doesn't really matter if he denied it or not. He's got it in his contract. Every wrestler who wins the championship, no matter what, he has that rematch clause in the contract. So MVP wins tonight. The Great Khali could always go, hey look, I want my title shot. But ladies and gentlemen, they both have agreed to call it quits. And so the rule is, if Great Khali loses, as long as MVP is still champion, the Great Khali can't go for it. And the same with MVP. If MVP loses the Great Khali tonight, then MVP cannot go for the U.S. title. Oh my God. There, the U.S. title. Referee folding it up, and there you go. There you see it. The United States Championship, the JWF United States Championship, on the line here. And here we go. Both men staring at each other, just talking crap to each other. And here we go. Bam! Shoulder block by MVP. Took the big man down. Look at this. MVP with a vote of confidence. Oh! What the hell? He just German suplex the hell out of him. MVP's determined. He had a full-ass steam on that one. MVP just taking it to the Great Khali here. Knees. Knee shots. Yes, now I know those are knees, not all those. Knees. Knees. Again. Just kneeing the hell out of him. He's got it. MVP's got him. MVP shoots him into the turnbuckle again, and the knees into the corner again. This matchup has got all the makings of being